All set?
All set.
Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome to this internal HMIS training. If you have any questions, feel free to let us know at any point. You can unmute or put it in the chat. So today's goals and agenda. So for the goals is to get a general HMIS overview refresher to ensure that we're entering data correctly and accurately. So we'll start by going over some training reminders about the new user forms in the LMS, move into clarity about the client profile, households, release of information, switching agencies. We'll go into the program type requirements, data quality, reports, and then finally, privacy and security. So all new users need to have a new user request form submitted by their program manager. And once this form is submitted, we are alerted and then we can get them set up on the LMS and the Clarity training site. So the LMS is where all the HMIS trainings are accessible. And in order to go live in Clarity, you need to complete the 4 required trainings. In addition to that, those 4 required, every year, each HMIS end user is required to attend 1 security and privacy training. There are also additional trainings that can be completed for additional access, such as the shelter referral, CES, or street outreach trainings. So moving into the client profile, here is the basic client profile. And in this box in red are all the universal data elements for the profile. And all of these fields are required by HUD. You can also see public alerts here, the UID, and the community and shelter queue status of referrals. Make sure to fill in all this information, or anything left, data not collected or blank, will be an error. Here is the coordinated entry profile. It looks slightly different. It contains a few more elements, such as the contact information shown in the bottom in red. Okay, so one of the frequently asked questions that comes up is, can you edit a profile? And the answer is yes. If you see an error or any missing information, please correct it. If it's a social security number and you're positive of the change, continue past the warning and fix the problem. If the change is significant, such as like a name change, and would impact other organizations that might be viewing the client profile, use the internal messaging to notify the other organization so they can be aware of this change. And if you can't edit the profile and you're experiencing an issue, reach out to the help desk. So adding household members. Before adding a new client to the system, be sure to search it first to see if they already have a profile. And once you've searched and made sure they don't already have a profile, then you can add them. When adding a household member, add each household member's profile individually and complete all their UDEs first. And then once they all have profiles, you can go in and add them to the household by clicking this manage box that's shown at the bottom. No, it's skipping every time I click it. So your recent clients that you've accessed will show up on the side, and or you can search them. So if you hadn't looked up their household number, you can search them. And when you click add, you need to set the member type, or else that will show up as an error if they're not set. You need to be sure to set the household type. Clients can't be in multiple households at once, so pay close attention to that and pay close attention when exiting them from a household, because there are a lot of data quality issues that come up if you exit someone from the household. The head of household member also needs to be assigned with a member type. So once you make the household, you set the person's household type, you also need to set the head of household member's type as well. And the head of household defaults to the profile that you were in when you started adding members, but it can also be changed by toggling a different head of household. So just be aware of who the household member is so it's accurate. You don't want to accidentally be in a child's profile and make them the head of household and not catch the mistake before you move on to the next person you're working with. So releases of information, or ROIs, are you need written or verbal consent, and they need these ROIs to be signed once a year. Parents or guardians must sign for the minors, but everyone over 18 must have their own. If a client doesn't consent to the data, they'll still be entered into HMIS, but the record will be made private by the end user. This is to make sure it's not shared within HMIS. Also, if a client withdraws consent, the information needs to be locked down so it's not shared with other agencies. Agency selected. So only a few users will have access to more than one agency, but if you want to switch agencies, you can select that down arrow that's going to be right next to your agency's name, and then you can select it. Program type requirements. So the programs that are bolded are the programs that are specific to our agency. And so coordinated entry is the service that coordinates and manages crisis response and can efficiently connect people to housing and service interventions that will rapidly end their homelessness. Additionally, emergency shelters provide short-term beds, and they can either be entry or exit tracking, where the clients that are entered into the program the night they come and are exited once they're absent for at least one night. Night by night tracking is a little different, where they're checked in and marked every night that they are present, and they don't need to be exited if they are absent for a few nights. Transitional housing is temporary, and it's designed to help move clients along to permanent housing. The day shelters offers facilities and services to those without overnight lodging. Street outreach offers services to those unsheltered. Homeless prevention offers services or financial assistance to prevent a person from moving into homelessness. Permanent housing, rapid rehousing, provides relocation, stabilization, or short or medium term financial assistance. Services only offers standalone supportive services to address the needs of the client. Permanent supportive housing includes supportive services to assist those formerly homeless with a disability in order to live independently. And then permanent housing with services includes supportive services, but it's not limited to those with a disability. And then but permanent housing only, housing with services without any services included. The other project component is a project that can provide services but does not have an HMIS associated outcomes. And then Safe Haven, a project to serve hard to reach homeless persons with 24-hour availability and a limited capacity. But if that's still correct, there are no projects of this type in Rhode Island.
Yeah, that's correct. Christina, could I just ask you to let Millie in, please?
Oh, yep.
Thank you.
So all project types with clients served for more than 1 year require annual assessments. Current living situations, or CLS, are required for street outreach or coordinated entry. The housing move-in date is required for all permanent housing projects, such as the permanent supportive housing, rapid rehousing, and other permanent housing. And then engagement date is required for street outreach. Services are required if the program contract requires recording service transactions, so such as those night-by-night shelters. And case notes are required if the program contract requires case notes to be recorded in HMIS. So current living situation needs to be completed in coordinated entry and street outreach program every time the living situation changes or a service event takes place in that program. One needs to be done at every CES related conversation and every interaction for street outreach. And if a change happens, a new CLS should be completed in CES. So the housing move-in date is recorded on the enrollment screen and must be recorded in the project entry screen, be on or after the project start date, and have only one housing move-in date per enrollment. And do not record a move-in date in a status update. There is only one move-in date per enrollment, so if the client relocates within the program, they can keep the original date. But if they return to homelessness during their housing search, they must be exited and re-enrolled with a new housing move-in date if they return. Engagement date. The engagement date is a field and street outreach and emergency shelter projects. So it's completed when an outreach has engaged and collected all the UDEs or universal data elements. If it's left blank in a street outreach project, the client data quality won't be counted on any HUD reports. So this date must be on or after the program start date. Once you finish the enrollment and entering all the data elements, you can click on Provide Services, and you can select the service and the dates provided and then complete the service note. For programs that have multiple clients at a time, like the night-by-night shelters, there's also sometimes an attendance option where you will search for the UID and add them that way. For case notes, you can enter the title, the date, and write the note. Category and time tracking is optional, but they are important elements to avoid any duplicate entries. I'll now move into data quality. So the search bar doesn't always work by using the first three of the first name and the first three of the last name. So it's important to search any combination to ensure that the client is not in the system already to avoid any duplicates. So make sure to have completed all this information and try to minimize the amount of data not collected, client doesn't know, or client refused, because those all show up as errors. Also enter aliases to make it easier for other staff to find the client records. Complete when enrolling someone or a family into a program, make sure to complete all the program specific data elements for each member. Make sure the homeless history accurately reflects the client's chronic homeless status, and also complete the disability information limiting data not collected, because that will all show up as an error. So the enrollments, complete the income, the non-cash benefits, and health insurance. So if you click yes to the income, a drop down of all different income elements will appear. And then you'll toggle, as seen by the arrow, toggle any elements the client is receiving on. And sometimes some elements might ask you to enter the specific amount. Just be sure to fill out all the information accurately. So this is the same slide as above, but it's important to understand that if one of these elements isn't done correctly, it will result in poor data quality. So just to be sure to be entering the correct housing move-in date.
12:30, 1:30, 2:30.
For exits, always make sure to choose the correct destination and date to ensure data quality. If you accidentally exit someone and they shouldn't have been, all you have to do is delete the exit date and they'll be active in the program again. All the disability, income, and health insurance info will cascade over, but you need to make sure to update the income if it wasn't done on an annual status assessment.
2, 3 and a half.
So how to ensure good data quality? Make sure you know all of the UDEs and how to answer them, and limit the amount of data not collected, client refused, or client doesn't know. Run reports regularly to detect any issues, and try to not just do it the day before, try to stay ahead of it so you aren't overwhelmed. Into reports. This is the client profile again. In the right side of the client profile has all the client info, such as reports, the ROI, the family members, active programs, recent services, and assigned staff. And if you click on this icon, it will bring you into the client level reports that can be accessed from that last page. And some useful reports that are good to know are the case notes, the client service notes, and the length of time homeless reports. The other reports can be accessed using this launch pad and clicking on the reports all the way to the left. Some of these useful ones are the housing reports that can show you the entry and exit and daily unit reports to make sure the numbers accurately reflect what you're working with. The HUD reports, the data quality, APR, CAPERS. Then the program-based reports are useful that you can report on enrollments. And then service-based reports also report on the services. Once you've run the report, this message pops up that's shown on the top. And then when the report is complete, the message on the bottom is what comes up, and you'll click open to review the results. So moving into privacy and security. So any downloaded or stored data must be encrypted. Unencrypted personal information cannot be stored on any end user's desktop. This includes file attachments by emails or to a flash drive. And all the downloaded data must be deleted and emptied from the recycling bins on your computers anytime you leave your workstation. Attachments, you can't send unencrypted file attachment by email. Uploaded client attachments are shared statewide if they sign the consent form. And sharing attachments will allow for better care coordination. It will support coordinated entry, reduce duplication, and ensure safe digital keeping if it's done securely and properly. Moving into the internet, any workstation accessing HMIS must have an antivirus software. They also need to have a software firewall either on the workstation or on the central server, depending on how your workstation is accessing the internet. So basically, when you're accessing HMIS, you must have secure internet access. Maria, I don't know if you want to jump in on this one a little more.
I do actually, thank you. So this is very important, especially for those, the staff that's at the hotels. You wanna make sure, as for program managers, that the staff that's accessing HMIS while they're at the hotel, that they do so on a secure network. And then it's not just, on their phone hotspots or off their the free guest Wi-Fi from the hotel. You want to make sure that it's something, password protected, and that, it goes along with all of our policies and procedures when it comes down to that privacy and security. So if you guys have questions on that, feel free to let us know. Thanks.
I do have one question. I'm sorry, I sneezed. I thought I was on mute, guys. So if we're turning on the hotspot and using the Wi-Fi from the hotspot for the computer, that would not be considered protected. Is that correct?
Correct, because your is the Wi-Fi coming from your phone?
Yes, I believe so.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, so it sounds like there's no way for the case managers to access their system unless they're at home on their protected network.
So does the hotel have a password protected Wi-Fi?
Yes, but I believe we have to pay for that daily.
And what about like mobile hotspots from the coalition? I think we had those.
I don't think we've received those yet, not to my knowledge.
I would check back. I don't know on who is the person that, but I want to say that we did, because when we got the Chromebooks, Melly might know. I don't know if
Melly.
Are you? If she doesn't answer, that's fine too, but we can check offline regarding those hotspots, because I want to say that we did have them in the office. I just don't know if they were still available or if they still worked, right? I don't know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so moving on to the help desk. In the lower right corner in Clarity, there's a help button, a help widget, that you can expand it to search the Clarity knowledge base for additional help, or for additional help. And if you're running into any issues, you can email the help desk. And then there's office hours that are held every other Friday, both at 12:30 for agency managers and 9 for other end users. I forgot to pause for questions as I went through each of them. So if you have any questions now, please let me know.
So the other thing I also want to do actually is, if you guys could, I'll send it in the chat, but if could all of you please, check in through the chat, but also say where you're at with the HMIS timeline. Like, are you guys currently training? Are you guys not training at all? Might need a new user request form, or are you currently live in the system? So if you guys could just all take a minute and do that. And then after that, my second question is going to be, what, if any, trainings you guys would want to, specifically do, either with your team, whether if it's, the hotel staff, or just an overall training of something specific within HMIS, we could do that as well. Okay. Now, Emily, I saw your name. Yeah. Okay. We can connect offline too. Now, could everyone, I mean, if you guys have any, you know, feedback as to what trainings you guys would want to take, any further trainings, detailed trainings, or something that you guys just don't want to go over again, that's fine too. Just to have it on file. I'm getting private messages too, and that's okay if you guys want to send it privately. All right, that's it for me. Thank you. I think if you guys don't have any other questions, we can give you an hour of your life back.
Yay.
Okay. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, you know what I'm going to do too before you guys step out? I'm going to put those links of the training of the help desks in the chat as well. So what we ended up doing was we had it every week, but it was kind of, people wouldn't really show up. So I know one says for agency managers, but you guys can attend that one too if this other one doesn't work. Yes, so this training is it's being recorded. We did have about half of the invites not show up, which is fine. We can upload the recording on the LMS, and these slides will also be attached on the LMS.
Are you guys able to send the, I know some people might not like it, but I'd rather, you know, your office hours, you know how CES has it, that it just shows up, like just so that it shows up in our schedule, just in case we need it? Because I think sometimes people forget that you guys have that and then we don't utilize it, but if you see it, you might utilize it. What do you guys think?
That is a good question. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I would like if it came in my schedule, then, you know, if I'm having any issues or any of the case managers are having any issues, they can just pop in.
Yeah, because I know myself when my staff have questions, I'm like, crap, I don't know the answers to that. Reach out to Maria, and because I forget, or like I'll say, reach out to the HMIS team, forgetting that you guys have your hours. So if I'm able to see it, I can be like, oh, nope, they have office hours Tuesdays and Thursdays, hop on. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just easier like that. Or if there's kind of like a way that you can alert us, I don't know. Just some way that we know that it's there rather than having to remember it.
Yeah, I can see that. So what if we put it on the Zoom calendar? Or would you rather have it in your own calendar? So I think one of the things that we were not trying to do was have another meeting for everybody. So as long as the understanding is that you can go to this if you have questions, but not necessarily, you know, a place to just hang out or have like a conversation. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm not trying to do. But we can definitely put it in like internally within our own agency. That's fine.
No, yeah, or send like can you do like an automated email that sends it out right before it's supposed to happen? Because I think CES has it that way, or someone just sends out an email like on whatever days it is, and says, hey, don't forget Tuesdays and Thursdays office hours for HMIS if you need help. Like send out an email that way to have like if you don't want to put in everybody's schedule.
Yeah, that's a good, I like that better actually. Yeah, we can definitely do that. And they are, so it's like, say for example, this week I'm gonna have the end user ones, and then Tucker's not gonna have the agency manager one until next week. So I'm on one week and then Tucker's on the other week, and then we're just gonna alternate. So every week there'll be someone available. And even if someone like an end user is coming or an agency manager needs to come to the end user one, that's completely fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
That works.
I like that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So
I'm a more visual learner, so if I see it, I know it's there. If I don't see it, I'm not gonna forget. I mean, I am gonna forget.
well, that's not it's not a problem either, because in these meetings, what we do is we share screens a lot. So you guys are the ones primarily that'll be sharing your screen. So we see what you see. And if it's a system issue, we can send it up to BitFocus. And if it's just like, an error issue or a system issue, we can figure it out. So it's very visual.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And Emily, I will take your offer up on that. We can connect.
Marie, I know this is irrelevant to the people here, but where did we land on with our hotel people of what we talked about in regards to the LMS stuff?
So your people are all, your team is all on the LMS, and they have those trainings that we talked about available to them now.
Okay. Who was gonna send them the link? Was it LaTanya?
They should already have the link.
Okay, I can follow up with them.
Okay.
And then all of LaTanya's group also has, they're actually, for the most part, I think they're live. I think.
Okay.
Yes, all of mine are live. I just needed one that needed the other trainings.
Yep, so they should also have that access already, because that was set up on Friday.
Okay.
And Melly, we had asked you a question. I don't think you could hear us earlier. So for the laptops at the hotels, how are we connecting to the Wi-Fi?
They're supposed to be connected through the staff cell phones that have hotspots, not through the hotel website, not through the hotel Wi-Fi. That's why they all got smartphones, because they all have hotspots.
The staff cell phones.
Yep. The site cell phone, because you tell them staff cell phones and they think it's their cell phone, and they're like, well, I don't have hotspot on my phone. Well, we're not meaning your phone, we're meaning the staff cell phone that you're supposed to be using when you're working. So you gotta be specific.
Okay. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach out and see what that entails, because I don't know if that complies with our policies and procedures.
It does, because Jen was the one that told us to do it that way.
It was? Okay.
Yeah, because she was saying they can't connect to the Wi-Fi, the hotel Wi-Fi. It's not secure. But if we do it through the phone hotspot, it's like the internet that we're paying for through our phone. I think. I could be wrong, but double check. Yes.
Yeah, I can connect with her, because if it's your personal phone, that's definitely a no. If it's a staff cell phone, I would need to investigate that a little bit more.
Yeah, because so each site has their cell phone that they share amongst the shifts. So if they need the internet, they should be connected to the staff hotspot cell phone.
Okay.
I don't know if there's something on your end that you guys have to do to each phone. I'm not sure, but yeah, find that out.
Yeah, if they're all the same.
Yeah, it's through AT&T.
It's through AT&T.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I'll check in with Jen, and if anything, we'll just check in. Or who's my contact person? You, Tanya?
You can contact me, and it's the same for the case managers. They use their work cell phone for the Wi-Fi, so let me know.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. Yeah, I'll check in with Jen, and I'll update if it needs to be updated. Yeah, I'll check in with you guys. All right, if there are no more questions, we'll cut you loose, guys.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Thank you.